Hey guys, so today we're just going to pick up on applying quadratic equations. So we're just doing what we've already done throughout Module 2, which is solving quadratic equations, whether it's through factoring, quadratic formula, or most of you don't prefer this method, but also completing the square. So remember, when they give you word problems, you're just going to take the function that they gave you. So in this case, they gave me p of x equals x squared plus 20x minus 96. And you just have to kind of identify, which they already have, what each variable represents. So notice they're asking for the number of sales, and the number of sales is represented by x. So that means we're solving for x. They gave me an extra number here. So that means what are the number of sales? So we're solving for x to save at least $1,100. So the total price here is $1,100. Now, once I have everything I need from the word problem, forget about the word problem. You're solving. You're solving mathematically like you've always done. Anytime you solve a quadratic equation, one side of the equal sign has to be zero, whether you're factoring or using quadratic formula. One side has to equal zero. So I'm going to subtract this 1100 to the other side of the equal sign. What I do to one side, I do to the other. I'm going to subtract it to its like term, which is the constant. So the x squared and the 20x will come right down. And then I have negative 96 minus 1100. So signs match. They're both negative, which means I can add. If I add negative 96, or sorry, positive 96, if I just add them plus 1100, I'll get 1196, and then take the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is 1100. It's negative, so is the sign. Or you could use a calculator. But in this case, you can solve for x by factoring or using quadratic formula. The only thing is, if you're going to use factoring, you need two numbers. Remember factoring quadratic equations, the trinomial, I multiply, well, I have ax squared plus bx plus c. So I multiply a times c, which means 1 times negative 1196. So I need two numbers that multiply to be a times c, which is 1 times negative 1196, which is negative 1196, and add up to be the middle number, which is b, which is 20. So, I mean, you are going to have quite a few numbers to test out just because 1196 has quite a few factors with it. So, just to save some time, I have, let's say, I'm going to test out 26 and 46. Well, one of them's got to be negative because I need to multiply to be negative 1196. So since it should add up to be a positive number, that means the larger number is going to be positive. So I'm going to make this negative. So if I multiply negative 26 times 46, it does multiply to be negative 1196. And if I add negative 26 plus 46, I do get 20. So yay, I found the two numbers. From here, once you find the two numbers, remember to put a, which is 1, so you don't really have to put that, and x over each number. And what this means, since there's nothing to reduce in the fraction, each fraction represents its own parentheses. So x and then minus 26, and then x, and that's a positive 46. Remember that this other side equals 0. So when it's factored and the other side equals to 0, what I can do is just set each parentheses equal to 0. So I'm going to add 26 to both sides, but I'm not going to write that out because I'm out of room. So x equals 26. And if I set x plus 46 equal to 0, to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract 46 on both sides, and I'll get x equals negative 46. Remember, in word problems, you want to check what's realistic. So x represents the number of sales. My number of sales should not be negative. So my answer would only be x equals 26.